Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my channel? Thank you so much. My fiancé's first love wanted my spot for a postgraduate recommendation. Although I refused, I kindly offered to tutor her instead. Who would have thought that his first love felt humiliated by me and, in a fit of anger, ran off to a foreign country and later died in a gunfight? My fiancé seemed indifferent on the surface, but after marrying me, he took advantage of my trust and annexed my family's company, causing my parents to commit suicide and leaving my sister all alone and helpless. Reborn in an instant, I went back to the day when his first love wanted to take my place. I was insulted to death in a dilapidated warehouse. The last person I saw before I died was my husband William, but he didn't come to save me. Instead, he kicked my body with a look of disgust on his face and then stepped on my face with his muddy shoes. I had known my husband since we were children, and we got engaged early. Although it was an arranged marriage, it was also sweet. He was gentle and considerate to me. I was willing to be a housewife for him and even gave him the shares that came with my dowry. Why? Why are you doing this to me? I was already driven insane by the torture and managed to speak with great difficulty through my tears. William's face turned pale as he took out a photo from his pocket. He ignored my words and instead held the photo and murmured to himself, "Sophia, I've avenged you." Sophia, William's savior when he was a child and also his unforgettable first love. I still remembered Sophia, but I was extremely puzzled by his words. "I never did anything to harm her. What revenge are you taking?" These words seemed to have provoked William. His eyes bulged red as he grabbed my neck with one hand. "How dare you say that? If it weren't for you, how could Sophia have gone abroad? How could she have died in a gunfight? It's you who killed Sophia. You should die for her." The force in his hand gradually increased. I couldn't breathe, and the explanations that I hadn't had a chance to say were choked back in my throat. "If it weren't for your family's company, do you think I would have married a dull and boring woman like you? You're not even a match for a strand of Sophia's hair. Yes, it was me who bankrupted your family's company. Your parents' suicides were also because of me. It's all because you wronged Sophia." The man in front of me was confessing his crimes, and his face became even uglier. I was filled with regret and unwillingness, but I couldn't endure the long period of suffocation and finally lost consciousness. "Sister, what are you thinking about? I've called you so many times and you didn't hear me." The charming voice of a young girl woke me up from my daze. The pain and suffocation on my body had disappeared completely, and it was no longer pitch black in front of my eyes. Feeling my healthy body and the unusually clear mind, I realized that I had been reborn. My sister carefully came up to me. "Sister, are you worried about the exam results this time, or the woman that William brought?" Back then, my memories became much clearer. This was the busiest period of my studies for the postgraduate recommendation. It was also the time when William found his savior, Sophia. He wanted to break off the engagement with me, his fiancée, for Sophia, and even said such foolish things as being willing to give up the company. This had already spread throughout our circle. Some people ridiculed him for being childish and naive, and of course, many wanted to see me make a fool of myself. After all, I was known for being infatuated with William, a love-struck girl who had been clamoring to marry him since childhood. I looked at my sister, who was in the prime of her youth, and listened to her caring words. My nose felt a little sour. My sister, who had been pampered since childhood, was actually forced to drop out of school in my previous life and could only do odd jobs to pay off the debts of the bankrupt company. All of this was because I couldn't see people clearly and let William harm our whole family. "Anna, can we have a talk?" A familiar voice rang out not far away. William had found me without my noticing. Sophia beside him was blinking her big watery eyes and looking at me pitifully. "Sister, don't pay attention to them. My sister was about to pull me away, but I didn't move. Go wait in the car for a while. I'll be there soon. The tragedy of my previous life should be reversed at this moment. I gave my sister a reassuring look and then went to an empty classroom to talk with William and Sophia. Sophia was snuggling up to William with their fingers intertwined. They looked very sweet, just like when William and I were passionately in love. He had once promised to protect me for a lifetime, gave me a grand proposal, and made me the envy of everyone in our circle. And now, all of this had been unreservedly given to another woman. Even the couple's necklace on Sophia's neck was the style that I had liked and mentioned. William had said it was childish and didn't want to buy it before, but now things had changed. I sat there without saying a word. William couldn't hold back. First, Anna, give your postgraduate recommendation spot and your thesis to Sophia. Sure enough, he said the exact same thing as in my previous life. I suddenly looked up, looking at William, who didn't show the slightest bit of guilt, and Sophia, who was looking at me eagerly. They were just as shameless. In my previous life, I had always valued my academic achievements, so there was no way I would agree. After turning down their unreasonable request, in order to ease the relationship with William, I even took the initiative to offer to tutor Sophia in her studies. But Sophia thought that I was humiliating her and looking down on her. In a fit of anger, she ran off to a foreign country and was never heard from again. Later, somehow the news got out that Sophia had died in a gunfight. From then on, William hated me and blamed Sophia's death on me. In my previous life, while I was studying for my postgraduate, I was accused of academic fraud. The public opinion was so overwhelming that I could hardly breathe. I then suffered from a serious mental illness and was forced to suspend my studies at home, cutting off all contact with my school and family, becoming a bird with broken wings. Now that I think about it, this was probably William's doing as well. He kept deceiving me, taking advantage of my mental vulnerability to make me trust him wholeheartedly, so that I was helping him count the money. Even after being sold, what clumsy means, but they were very effective in destroying our whole family. I remained silent, looking at the two people in front of me with a sarcastic smile. Sophia's eyes turned red, irritated by my gaze. She wiped her tears and choked out her complaints. Anna, I really want to be a postgraduate student at Harvard University, but I've been in poor health since I was a child. I was hospitalized so often that my grades are a bit low. Anna, you're so amazing. You could surely get into Harvard even if you took the postgraduate entrance examination, right? Sophia twisted the hem of her dress with both hands, her eyes full of anticipation and, from time to time, showing a bit of regret and longing. She really seemed like a good student eager to pursue her studies. In my previous life, I was also deceived by her appearance. Later, I learned from others that during her college years, she often skipped classes to go to bars and didn't come back at night. She also plagiarized her thesis and assignments many times. Her low grades had nothing to do with her poor health. Her death in the previous life was an even bigger joke. Sophia saw that a wealthy and powerful family would never accept someone like her, so she went abroad to live it up. Later, she deliberately spread the false news of her own death, making William never forget her. She was enjoying the status of being his first love while blackmailing me for money. If I return to the country, Brother William will surely divorce you without hesitation. I believed her words and was afraid of losing William, so I gave her hundreds of thousands of yuan and living expenses every month. Now that I think about it, I was really incredibly stupid back then. Anna, Sophia is talking to you. Who are you looking down on with that high and mighty attitude? My long silence annoyed William, and he looked at me with a look of extreme disappointment. In the past, whenever I saw him angry, I would immediately apologize and admit my mistakes, being extremely humble. But now I just find him ridiculous. What do you want me to say? I had an unyielding look. William suddenly slapped the table. If you don't agree, don't even think about seeing me again. He seemed certain that I would compromise. Sophia was crying even more, and from time to time, there were a few sobs coming from her throat. "What do you want me to do to make you agree? If not, I'll kneel down for you." As she said this, she staggered to her feet. I raised my eyebrows and watched her deliberately slow movements. When she saw that I didn't stop her, a flash of embarrassment quickly crossed her face. Then she pretended to lose her balance and fell into William's arms. "Sophia, are you okay?" William panicked and quickly helped her sit down. "Anna, don't you have any compassion? Sophia is so pitiful. Can't you just let her have it?" Sophia also grabbed my hand with a pale face. "Anna, as long as you're willing to give me the spot, I'll promise you anything." I calmly pulled my hand out. "Really? Anything?" William glared at me. "Anna, what are you trying to do? Don't take advantage of Sophia's kindness and push your luck," I sneered. "The grades have already been entered into the system, and I've already handed in my thesis to my supervisor. How do you expect me to give up the spot?" A smug look appeared on William's face. "Alexander is a friend of my father's. As long as you nod, there's room for manipulation." "The William family really has a lot of connections." I nodded. "I agree. The condition is that you break off the engagement with my family and ask your parents to come to my family's door to apologize. The two families' marriage alliance involves many interests. William was already in the wrong for using Sophia to slap my family in the face. Naturally, his parents can't hold their heads up in front of my family. If I break up with William, it can only be considered a minor spat between lovers. But if those in power cancel the engagement, it's a real power struggle. I believe my parents will surely be able to take a big bite out of the William family." Sure enough, William didn't expect these twists and turns. Instead, he asked me suspiciously, "Is it that simple?" I nodded. Sophia happily jumped into William's arms. "Great, Brother William, we can finally be together." I was too lazy to pay any more attention to them and walked out of the classroom door. I took out my mobile phone from my bag. There were several red words on the screen, recording in progress, like academic fraud. Now there's evidence. "Sophia, didn't you say that the jade pendant I gave you when you were a child was lost? How about I take you to have another one custom made? After all, it's a memory between us. I'll do whatever Brother William says." The two people in the room were still flirting and being coy, but I still didn't let down my guard. In my previous life, my family's company went bankrupt and my parents committed suicide because of it. In this life, in order not to repeat the same mistake, I decided to recruit someone into the company. David, a big shot in the medical field. In my previous life, he developed an anti-cancer drug and was on the news for several days. Even I was deeply impressed. He said in an interview that his research had never been favored and he was extremely short of funds in the early stage. Now is a great opportunity to offer timely help. I'll provide the funds and the venue, and he'll provide the technology. It's a win-win cooperation. When he develops the results, my family's company will surely reach a new level. My negotiation with David went very smoothly. David is young and talented, and he's also a person who knows how to adapt to circumstances. He's very grateful for my investment. I introduced him to my father, and my father also appreciated him. The two sides immediately signed a contract. When I was leaving, my mother even sighed and said that if I didn't have a boyfriend, David would be a nice choice. I took this opportunity to come clean with my parents and told them what had happened today. "I know what I'm doing to deal with William and Sophia. All you need to do is ask for more benefits when the William family comes to break off the engagement." These words surprised my father, and he couldn't stop praising me. Ariana has really grown up and finally has some sense. I just smiled without saying a word. The despair of being tortured before I died in my previous life still hasn't faded away. If I continued to be heartless, wouldn't I have lived my life in vain? Back in my room, I opened my mobile phone and happened to see that William had posted an official announcement photo of him and Sophia holding a jade pendant. The caption read, "It doesn't matter if you lose the other half of the jade pendant, just don't lose me. The fate from 15 years ago is still continuing." I casually clicked on the picture and found the jade pendant very familiar. It was half of a double-fish jade pendant. Coincidentally, I had the other half in my jewelry box. I took out the jade pendant and compared it carefully with the one in the photo. They were exactly the same. Is this a coincidence? In my previous life, I had never seen William take out this jade pendant. Could this also be the butterfly effect brought about by my rebirth? Suddenly, I remembered something and quickly dialed my secretary's phone number. "Help me check Sophia's information from when she was in primary school, and also the detailed situation of the sanatorium where I lived when I was a child, the most detailed as soon as possible." Half an hour later, I received the information sent by my secretary. "Sanatorium Anna. What about Sophia?" "Sophia isn't here. Sophia was in a boarding primary school 15 years ago and had no chance to meet William." I suddenly burst out laughing. 15 years ago, I was in a car accident on my way back home from the sanatorium and lost a part of my memory. It seemed as if the memory I'd lost had been stolen by someone else. I asked my secretary to go back to the sanatorium to retrieve the things I'd left there. However, there was only one diary missing. The cleaner at the sanatorium explained over the phone that she'd accidentally thrown the diary away as trash half a year ago, and that cleaner was Sophia's mother. This further confirmed my suspicions. The person who saved William's life and was always on his mind was me, not Sophia. Holding the half of the old double-fish jade pendant in my hand, my emotions grew increasingly complex. It would have been complicated if I hadn't saved William when I was a child, or if I hadn't lost my memory, or if I had brought that diary home. I could have avoided the tragedies of my previous life. Is it fate playing tricks on people? No, damn, my mind suddenly cleared up. Even if those things hadn't happened, it still couldn't change the fact that William was a scumbag. He was an outright degenerate, and I was determined to avenge myself and my family from my previous life. A week later, William got engaged to Sophia. At the same time, a proposal video quickly shot to the top of the hot search list and was wildly shared by netizens. 10,000 roses, a drone proposal, and a pigeon egg IED diamond ring. The love story of Cinderella and the prince sparked envy among numerous netizens, with blessings pouring in. Before long, public opinion began to dig into the female protagonist of this proposal, Sophia. She timely posted a selfie with William on Weibo and also showed a screenshot of her being conditionally admitted to Harvard University. The netizens went wild again. "She's a beauty and a straight A student. People prettier than you are also working hard, harder than you, so inspiring. Getting into Harvard University for postgraduate studies and also marrying into a wealthy family, this is clearly the setup for a novel's female lead." The online trend gradually shifted towards creating a goddess, and everyone was asking Sophia to debut as a star. I knew it all too well. Since Sophia successfully got engaged to William, she naturally didn't need to go abroad anymore. Her goal was obvious, and her means were clumsy. It was clear that she wanted to establish a straight-A student persona and become an internet celebrity. Before long, people in our circle also saw this hot search. Many so-called plastic sisters secretly sent WeChat messages to test me. "Anna, did you really break up with William? What a pity. After all, you were childhood sweethearts." That Sophia can actually get into Harvard University for postgraduate studies? I heard that William's father was really impressed by her. "Anna, didn't you also want to get into Harvard? Why haven't I seen your admission notice? Didn't you get in?" I casually replied with a few words. After that, I sorted out the materials and sent a report letter to Harvard University. During the investigation, Sophia indeed participated in several variety shows, filmed online dramas, and became a somewhat famous little internet celebrity. The day the investigation results were sent to my email was exactly the day the official announcement of Sophia's participation in a movie was made. It was quite controversial that a newcomer who had just debuted could participate in a big-budget movie. Such controversy quickly pushed Sophia to the top of the hot search list again. At the same time, William's identity as a rich second generation was also dug out by netizens. Although the evaluations were mixed, it did create a real buzz and attracted a large amount of attention for Sophia. Also, quite satisfied with Sophia's popularity. Want to become famous? Then I'll add more fuel to the fire for you. I hired a few marketing accounts that night. The topic, Williams's fiancée, donated 100 million yuan to a charity organization, hitting the hot search list. Many onlookers were puzzled. Who is William and who is his fiancée? Such a big move. I know his fiancée is that little internet celebrity, Sophia. I didn't expect her to be so kind-hearted. I just thought she was a resource queen. Now I apologize. I've always thought Sophia was very kind-hearted. She said she would often help cats, dogs, and such. She's simply an angel-like girl. Soon the topic, Sophia, the beautiful and kind-hearted angel, also hit the hot search list. The experience of being falsely accused of academic fraud and being cyberbullied in my previous life made me aware that public opinion is easily manipulated. The higher a person is praised, the harder they will fall. I directly threw money at the platform to make those two hot search topics pinned to the top. Soon Sophia saw it and responded, "Thank you all very much for your praise. However, I don't deserve to be called a beautiful and kind-hearted angel. I'm just doing what I can. In the future, I'll work even harder on charity and public welfare." This response was very clever. She didn't directly admit that she was the one who donated 100 million yuan, but secretly accepted the title. Sophia gained 1 million followers in a few hours, and the comment section was full of praise and requests to be taken care of. Industry bigwigs all jumped on the bandwagon to forward it, and directors also sent her cooperation invitations. Sophia really became famous this time, extremely famous, and instantly became a new generation of traffic star. In fact, the 100 million yuan donation was made by me. I had been in poor health since I was a child and was raised in a sanatorium. When I grew up, in order to help more people, I donated money to some charity organizations in the name of William's fiancée. With my help, countless seriously ill patients regained hope. A donation of 100 million yuan is no small amount. If it were someone else, they probably wouldn't have the guts to take someone else's identity, but that person was Sophia. Someone who could take someone else's identity just by reading a diary. Having tasted the sweetness of taking someone else's identity for the first time, she would do it a second time, a third time. I watched as Sophia's reputation reached its peak, and anyone who dared to question her in the comments would be chased and cursed by passers-by. It was time for me to fight back. First, I exposed several pieces of dirt on Sophia, such as her skipping classes and cheating, but Nissan chased after me, explaining that it was impossible. Then I released the recording of her and William asking me to give up my postgraduate recommendation spot to her, which triggered another wave of public opinion frenzy. Only this time, it was a negative hot search. Sophia clarified on Weibo that she had no academic fraud, but she was immediately slapped in the face by the notice issued on the official website of Harvard University. Harvard University cancelled Sophia's admission qualification and dismissed the public officials involved in this matter. There was an uproar on the internet. The straight-A student persona has collapsed. I always thought she didn't have much in her head. How could she possibly get into Harvard University? Sophia in the recording is so shameless. She's simply a white lotus, and that guy doesn't sound like a good person either. Academic fraud is shameful. Sophia, get out of the entertainment industry. despite such a scandal, many were still tolerant of Sophia. Most people were speaking well of her. To be fair, although Sophia had academic fraud, her character is really good. Otherwise, she wouldn't have donated 100 million yuan to charity organizations. Just a passerby, just because Sophia donated 100 million yuan, no matter what dirt she has, I'll be her fan for life. My mother's illness was able to be operated on thanks to the donations from charity organizations. I really can't dislike Sophia. Seeing that the direction of public opinion could still be controlled, Sophia immediately posted a pitiful apology article. She admitted that she was momentarily bewitched, but also said that it was because she was in poor health and wanted to study that she had to resort to such a desperate measure. She also said that she had already compensated the person involved, apologized to the person, and obtained forgiveness. I sneered at her insincere blog post, "Compensate." All I had on my phone was the threatening WeChat message sent by William asking me to go on Weibo to clarify for Sophia. I decisively took a screenshot of myself being threatened and posted it online directly at Sophia. How come I, the person involved, haven't received any compensation? My Weibo was quickly flooded by onlookers. Nissan, in the comment section, only a few people were supporting me. Most of the comments were advising me to let the matter rest. They said Sophia donated 100 million yuan. She clearly looks like a kind-hearted good girl. It's just that she asked for your postgraduate recommendation spot. It's not a big deal. Why be so aggressive with the revelations of insiders? My identity was quickly dug out by Nissan, the former fiancée of William, the eldest daughter of the Anna Group. Nissan imagined all kinds of melodramatic love stories. Sophia commented under my blog post, "We got together after you broke up with Brother William. Please leave me and Brother William alone." Okay, I'm just an ordinary person. Originally, some people had suspected that Sophia was a homewrecker. With this comment, Nissan became sympathetic to her again, coupled with the public relations of Sophia's company. Public opinion was guided to attack me. They wanted to take advantage of the hatred of the rich and label me as a bullying capitalist. Sophia is so pitiful. It's reasonable to suspect that this is a trap set by the eldest daughter of the Anna family, just to slander Sophia. I agree with the above. The Diana family's business is quite large. How could they be obediently threatened by Sophia? Am I the only one who finds it strange? How could an ordinary person donate 100 million yuan? Finally, a discerning person questioned the authenticity of the 100 million yuan donation. I quickly liked and forwarded that comment along with the transaction records between me and the charity organizations. There were different organizations and different donation amounts on it, which added up to exactly 100 million yuan, and the name of the remitter was not Sophia, but me, Anna. Sophia, the liar, didn't donate. It's the former fiancé, not the current one. Sophia, get out of the entertainment industry. Anna donated 100 million yuan. These several hot searches detonated the internet. Public opinion and various platforms almost crashed. Sophia's popularity had been really high during this period, and her fans had praised her too highly. There were also countless passers-by who had spoken well of her. With the sudden reversal, fans realized that they had been deceived, and their anger reached its peak. There were millions of abusive comments under Sophia's Weibo, and she suddenly became a rat, crossing the street that everyone shouted at. As the saying goes, what goes around comes around. Sophia was forced to quit the entertainment circle, and her dream of becoming a star was shattered. Not long after, I heard that William's parents drove Sophia out of the house. William went on a hunger strike to show his determination. I felt both delighted and disgusted when I heard this news. William really thought he was a 3-year-old kid, always resorting to threats. He was really too childish. When I calmed down and thought about it, I often felt that, in my previous life, I must have been given some kind of love potion. Otherwise, how could I have been so entangled with someone like William? I didn't have the time to care about him, because David's research had reached a critical stage. As the person in charge of liaising with him, I was also busy all day long. One day, David drove me home. From a distance, I saw William standing in front of my house waiting. He was disheveled, and the stubble on his face made him look sloppy and wretched. He was completely different from his former high-spirited appearance. I rolled down the window. When he saw me, he clenched his fists and walked towards me. Sophia has been cyberbullied all the time. She's had a mental breakdown and has already been admitted to a mental hospital, he said. I replied contemptuously. She brought it upon herself. It has nothing to do with me. Perhaps it was my attitude that enraged him. His eyes turned red as he stepped forward and punched the car door. It's you who hurt Sophia. If it weren't for you, Sophia wouldn't have been cyberbullied, nor would she have been driven out of the house. Go online and clarify. Tell them to stop cursing. Sophia, go to the hospital and apologize to Sophia. Go get out of the car. William became more and more excited, and his roar made my ears hurt a bit. William, you're wrong. Sophia ended up like this not only because of her own greed and getting what she deserved, but also because of you. Whether in the previous life or this life, William is the real culprit behind all the causes and effects. You claim to love Sophia with empty words, but you don't dare to oppose your family for her. When she was driven out of the William family, you didn't give up your family fortune to elope with her. You don't dare to blame your parents, so you can only put all the blame on me. William, you're a coward who can't let go of family wealth yet pretends to be deeply in love. Enough! Shut up! William roared and kicked the car hard. It's all your fault! It's all your fault, Anna! I won't let you get away with this. After saying that, he staggered away. In my eyes, he was running away in a panic. I opened the door to get out of the car when David spoke. Miss Anna, I think he's not in a right state of mind. You'd better be careful. Take a few more bodyguards with you when you go out recently. I thanked him politely. Based on my experience from the previous life, William was very likely to take action against me. And that was exactly what I wanted. Kidnapping, attempted murder. As long as he dared to do it, I could make him regret it for the rest of his life. I arranged for people to protect me secretly and told them that if they saw William, they should call the police first and only intervene when it was a critical moment. I also tied a modified watch on my wrist. It only showed the time on the surface, but actually, it was connected to a disarming function. The moment I pressed the watch, an emergency call could be made to 3 emergency contacts. Everything was foolproof. As expected, I waited until the day William went crazy. It was a sunny morning. I went out to eat at an old restaurant in an alley. Before I had walked a few steps, someone covered my mouth and dragged me into a car. I pressed the emergency button on my watch in time and glanced at the bodyguards behind the tree, then let myself be tied up. The van bumped all the way and took me to a remote warehouse. I took off the blindfold and saw a familiar figure. William was looking down at me with the crazy eyes he had when he killed me in the previous life. Sophia committed suicide. Sophia committed suicide. It's because of you, Anna. I'll kill you. I want you to pay for Sophia's life. He grabbed my collar and shook my body crazily. It's all because of you, Anna. I'll kill you. I want you to pay for Sophia's life. As he said this, he turned around to pick up the knife on the ground. The moment his hand touched the knife, the warehouse door was broken open. Don't move, police. Put down what you're holding. Move again and I'll shoot. Looking at the people who came to rescue me, I finally smiled with satisfaction. William was arrested. For attempted murder, the William family wanted to reduce his sentence, but they were already too busy taking care of themselves because the medicine developed by David had been successfully approved, and an exclusive agency agreement had been signed with the Anna family. Most of the William family's market was taken away, coupled with the news that William was in prison for attempted murder. The stock price of the William family plummeted all of a sudden. When the wall was falling, Everyone was pushing other companies that had been eyeing them eagerly to divide up the William Group. The William family went bankrupt in just half a month. However, my family's company was thriving more and more and even expanded into many new industries. I successfully inherited the company and managed it in an orderly manner. We moved to another, more luxurious villa. When I was packing up before leaving, I found the double-fished jade pendant I had casually thrown in the cabinet. I took the jade pendant to the prison to visit William. At first, he was full of hostility towards me, but he was shocked when he saw the jade pendant. "Where did you get this jade pendant? How did it end up in your hands?" Through the transparent glass, William shouted out of control. I told him everything that had happened before and the possibility that Sophia had taken my place. "I just found this junk when I was packing up. Since you can't get it in prison, I can't return it to its owner, so I can only—" Before I finished my words, I casually threw the jade pendant on the ground. The jade pendant cracked with a crisp sound. "No." William was so anxious that he pressed himself against the glass. "This can't be true. You can't throw it away. I gave it to you. No, no. I gave it to Sophia. No, I was wrong. I've always been wrong." William broke down emotionally and was forcibly taken back to the prison by the guards. I left the prison in the car. David had been waiting for me. "Let's go before the Civil Affairs Bureau closes." I sounded cheerful because I had provoked William. David nodded dotingly, having complete trust in me. David and I got engaged 3 months ago. We signed a prenuptial agreement that he agreed to marry into the Anna family. I was very satisfied with him. He had no parents, no greed, and only wanted to do research. He would never be like William and harm our whole family again.